I hope I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So it was supposed to teach circle, but the e-content which was preloaded on the smart board was an sphere. It was very glossy and attractive to look at, but it was leading to misconception because it wasn't a circle, it was a sphere. So that is why we need to check the reliability and validity of content, whether it is actually catering the purpose which it has been created for. Then cost effectiveness. So we have a weightage of marks for each content in the syllabus. And also we have specific nature of the content. So we also need to see how much weightage a particular content piece is having in the syllabus and also its nature before deciding upon what kind of content we need to we are procuring, purchasing, or creating, so that cost effectiveness also can be worked towards. Then licensing I have already discussed. Now appropriateness as per the nature of content, methods of teaching learning, context of the learner, and available technology. So let us just get into this. So there, as a teacher or as an educator, we come across different kinds of content which have different nature. So we come across factual content, conceptual content, procedural contents, and metacognitive content. So these are different contents of different nature. So to identify the media to be integrated or to be created for different types of different nature of content, we need to just do content analysis first. Then only we will understand what kind of media intervention is required for a specific nature of content. If the content is factual, then a slide show will do the purpose, or a digital map in some cases can serve the purpose. We need not to create an augmented reality or virtual reality content for the concepts which are factual in nature. For example, uh, states and UTs and their capitals. We can have a simple digital map depicting different states, political map depicting different states and their capitals. So there is no need to have a virtual reality or augmented reality content for such contents which are factual in nature. Then procedural. So there are content which depict certain procedures or processes. So some procedures and processes need 3D visualization also. Like in my previous presentation also, I mentioned one form of digital content which was showcasing waterfall formation. And for that matter, any landform formation occurs in sanctuaries. So it is an abstract phenomena. So to teach such abstract phenomena and to give it more uh, a pedagogical structure, appropriate pedagogical structure, we need to select appropriate digital content. I also mentioned about internal organs of in our body and different systems which are taken care of by these internal organs, so which create a system like respiratory system or a digestive system. So it is not possible to show these systems in concrete form to our students, but in the school education curriculum, it has a place. So to teach such nature of content, 3D visualization is important. We need to identify a content, procure content, e-content, which caters to that specific need. Then methods, context of the learner. So our learners are also in a diverse country like India. Our learners are also sitting at different geographical locations, which again is manifested by multifarious diversity. So keeping in view that diversity, we need to select the uh, content. If a particular kind of infrastructure is there at one location, so we have to select content which matches with that kind of infrastructure, which exists in the context of learners we are going to teach. Apart from this, there is geographical diversity also, linguistic diversities also, but the e-content which is available out there is mostly in English. So we need to have contents in local languages, or we need to see whether the content is subtitled in the local languages or not. If we are teaching a concept like agricultural practices, so we cannot teach a child who is sitting in the far-flung areas of Ladakh or Assam or Manipur, or at any hilly areas, the agricultural practices which are practiced in plain areas. So we also need to identify the content which is contextualized as per the context of the learner. Then methods of teaching and learning. If children have different learning styles, we as teachers have different pedagogical styles or different teaching learning methods which we found more suitable for our teaching style. Some teachers are good at teaching content using project methods, inquiry method, or integrating a lot of digital contents into their teaching learning methods. Some find it suitable to use a particular content as a pre-lesson, mid-lesson, and post-lesson. So we also need to see what suits to our teaching style. If as teachers, we need to select, create, or procure some digital content. Like if we want to unfold our lesson using a mind map, so mind map is the suitable content for lesson planning and for delivery of the lesson. So we need to take care of that also. Then available technology, what is the available technology which exists as infrastructure, that also we need to see, or the device or platforms through which we are disseminating a particular content. If we procure the content, we need to see it matches with the available technology, or is suitable to the platforms by which we have planned to share specific digital content. So let us now see what is the process of evaluating e-contents. We should have a set method or process for the evaluation of e-content. So for that, we need to understand quality parameters of e-content. What are the parameters which actually are suitable for judging the quality of specific e-contents? So we first need to understand the target audience for which we are going to select a particular e-content. So we have to see their age groups, previous knowledge, socio-cultural background, learning styles, language, demography, information, emotional development, ability or their level, social development, etc. And then we also need to check, evaluate the content, whether the content is accurate, relevant, what content coverage is there, it is updated, aligned with curriculum, spatial contiguity is there, temporal contiguity is there, scope and depth appropriateness to target audience, level of difficulty, integration of real world experience, etc. We need to check. Then another quality concern is pedagogical considerations. So whether the objectives are appropriately articulated, method of delivering the content, media selection, presentation format, free from bias, and all such considerations. Then what is the presentation format, how it is presented, whether it is aesthetically presented, whether literary and it has some literary and social values, it is motivational, innovative, creative, based on universal design of learning, font, effect, coherence in media elements, chunking and organization, scope for personalization, inherent interactivity, suitable to learner with special needs, addressing gender equality and multiculturalism, etc. Then technical features. We also need to take care of technical features. What is the file format? Again, if it suits to the platform, we are going to disseminate it through. And the architecture, usability, interaction, navigation, adaptation, reusability, metadata, interoperability, compliance, whether it is interoperable through different platforms and devices, accessibility, loading time, what is the loading time, license and duration, etc. Then administrative considerations, and we need to look at the cost, delivery mechanism, support services, then training, maintenance, infrastructure, and technological requirement, sources of procurement, access, etc. So we need to take care of all that. Then again, how it should be evaluated to, you know, the parameters in the previous slide, which has been taken from e-content evaluation guidelines. So we need to have an e-content evaluation, a tool based on the parameters which I discussed in the previous slide. So what the tool should be like? CIET NCERT has already developed e-content evaluation tools. It's a very crisp, small tool using which you can very easily evaluate the digital content. So these e-contents are based on the parameters which I discussed in the previous slide. So let me take you through the parameters. So in nutshell, these are the 10 parameters we can evaluate the e-content through. So one is factual accuracy, which is very, very important. Legal use of proprietary content. Content piece should be free from technical glitches. Constitutional and statutory appropriateness of content. Then correspondence with topics, subtopics, and learning outcomes covered in the textbooks or in the subject area. Then pedagogic, andragogic structure. Then language and comprehensibility. Then format of content presentation appropriate for age class and level. pacing of the program, then duration of the program, appropriate for age, class, label. So what do we understand by each of these parameters will be discussed in the elaboration of these parameters, which also I will take you through. So if the four top parameters are not fulfilled by a particular e-content, then we are not going to take that content. Because we are procuring, we are developing, we are selecting educational content, not content just for entertainment. So if it doesn't have factual accuracy, that means that content needs to be rejected. We are not going to select that content. And then legal use of proprietary content. If proprietary content has not been used as per the legalities, then we are not going to have that content, because we can be in trouble, because we are not adhering to the proprietary of that particular content. Then content, if the content is not free from technical glitches, then again it will it will rather distract the learners. The glitches will distract the learners, so we are not going to have it. And then constitutional and statutory appropriateness of content. If it doesn't adhere to the constitutional norms or constitutional values or constitutional recommendations which are there, then also we are not going to select that content. And the rating for these parameters are remarks should be given as poor or very poor on all the criteria, all these four criteria. Then from criteria 5 to 10, we have to rate it from 1 to 5. And we have to see whether it is getting an average or not. So for the 1 to 5 rating is also, we have given some values to it, like 1 for excellent, it will go like that, 2 for very good, 3 for good, 4 for poor, and 5 very poor. So if it gets rating like 1, 2, and 3, then we will see what is the average under the 5 other parameters, and then only we can select a particular e-content. So let us now elaborate more upon the these parameters. Just a moment, my slides are not moving. So in this document, elaboration of each of these parameters are given. What do we understand by factual accuracy? Content being presented through text, diagrams, pictures, audio, animation, simulation, etc., have no factual errors. So if a content piece has a combination of more than one media, like text is also there, diagram is also there, pictures are also there, audio is there, animation is there, simulation is there, or some it is a combination of few of these kind of content, we need to see the factual accuracy of each and every media which is integrated in a particular piece of e-content. Then legal use of proprietary content. The content piece should not use proprietary content which is unauthorized. So if the content is unauthorized, then we need to drop it. Then content piece free from technical glitches. So what to look for uh, looking at this criteria? Then sound should be in sync with visuals. It should not be that the visuals are something else and sound is not in sync with the visuals. There is a general usability in terms of rendering and visual experience. So visual experience should be good. If the visual experience is not good, the media is blurred or not very clear, then it will not give our users a very good learning experience. Then constitutional and statutory appropriateness of content. So content does not reflect violation of constitutional obligations. For example, adhering to fundamental rights and duties. If some content goes against such constitutional norms, so they not take that content. It is just an example. Should not promote stereotypes or derogatory depiction based on caste, class, gender, community, ethnic groups, religion. So that can also be taken care of. In India, all these groups coexist. Groups based on caste, class, gender, community, ethnic groups, and religious groups. So if anywhere any derogatory depiction of any of these groups or other groups are there, then that content is not appropriate to be utilized. So in my previous session also, I showed you three infographics or flow diagrams of family tree. There also I mentioned that these three diagrams are made, three family trees are made because adhering to small family norm is an constitutional value which is enshrined in our constitution. So the three infographics were depicting different family relations, but through three diagrams, so that small family norm can be adhered to. Then, yeah, so these were the four essential parameters to be looked at when we are going to evaluate a particular e-content. Then let us look at the other five. Correspondence with topic, subtopics covered in the textbooks. So how this correspondence is. So based on that, we have to give the rating. Then relevance to the content piece with the topic, subtopic mentioned in the textbook. So this is the criteria which has to be taken care of. Then pedagogical structure, suggestive criteria. It's not an exhaustive list. So it is indicative. So there can be many more criteria as far as pedagogical structure is concerned. So content delivery is supported by relevant examples. Then content piece should be learning outcome oriented. Cause and effect relationship should be established while explaining a particular concept or phenomena. Concrete to abstract, the it should be uh, mm, yeah, aligned in a manner that it takes us from concrete to abstract. Then content piece attempts to intimate reflective thinking among learners. Content piece attempts to integrate with other domains of knowledge. So there should be an integration also. So the following maxims of teaching learning can also be added to: easy to difficult, simple to complex, concrete to abstract, whole to parts, and part to whole. So The content piece prescribes to these maxims of teaching and learning. Special contiguity of message forms needs to be there. Corresponding words and pictures are presented near rather than far from each other. So if it is a diagram, so this special contiguity need to be taken care of. So otherwise the content piece will look clumsy. So temporal contiguity of messages and forms, corresponding words and pictures are presented simultaneously rather than successively. क्या है रिसीव करना है अच्छा sorry just a moment please. Yeah, sorry, let us resume it then. Yeah, language and comprehensibility. Content piece should have no grammatical errors. We have to check that also. Content is presented in a manner which is understandable as per grades of the learner. The language should not be difficult, it should be comprehensible. Then format of e-content presented. So we also need to see content has been presented in a format that is best suited for the theme. So one example is given here. For instance, a content which is in the form of group discussion would score low on this criteria if the best way to explain the concept would have been an experiment. So experiment cannot be discussed through a panel discussion or through a lecture. So we need to see whether the presentation format is appropriate or not. If we are discussing some issue, our content is related to some burning issue, then a panel discussion incorporating different views is best suited content. But if we are discussing about some processes to be shown, then maybe a demonstration, an experiment, or a mobile app which depict the process is best suitable content for that content piece. Then pace of the program, the content is appropriately paced, leading to easy comprehension. Sometimes just to cover the learning outcome in totality, we make the content very, very dense. And in an attempt to cover the learning outcome in totality, we just put in a lot of content. Then if we want to have a 15-minute program on that or an half an hour content on that, we go very fast. So pacing, we keep the pacing very fast. So which again makes the content incomprehensible for the students. So we can break it into two. If a learning outcome content which or plan which we have made for creating a learning outcome, it cannot be covered into a 15 or 20 minutes program, then we should break it into more programs rather than keeping the pacing of the program very fast. Then a duration of the program, the content is of appropriate duration to sustain attention of the learner. So I have already told you that for foundational literacy and numeracy, we are into creating bite-sized video, and the duration of a bite-sized video is from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. So duration of the program should also be as per the levels or age of the age group of our learners. If we pour a half an hour or 1 hour program to the learners who belong to foundational stage, it will not sustain their attention. So that is why the duration should also be age appropriateness should be taken care of while setting the duration of a particular program. So those were the parameters of e-content evaluation. Then guidelines of e-content development. NCERT has created guidelines for e-content development, which are there on our website, on the website of CIET NCERT. There are two guidelines. One guidelines are generic, and the second document is the e-content development guidelines for CWS and children with special needs. Let me show you where they are sitting in our on our website. So this is the website of Central Institute of Educational Technology. And in the opening page itself, you will see the e-content guidelines. So guidelines for the development of e-content for children with disabilities and guidelines for development of e-content for school education. So let me just open the document. So it's a long document. Maybe you can go through the document on your own so that you get to know more nuances of e-content evaluation and e-content development. So it's nearly so 140-page document. So both the documents are like that. So yeah, that was about e-content evaluation and the e-content evaluation guidelines that we have. So let me now show you one video, and you have to evaluate that video. So write your observations in the chat box. So before that, let me take you through this model of e-content evaluation, which is shows that evaluation is an intrinsic component of creation process also. When we create a process, if we build evaluation there, then maybe we will create a glitch-free content. So it's a part of each and every step of e-content evaluation. So when we analyze content or evaluate, just content analysis we do for selecting a particular media input, then also we need to evaluate. So evaluation is there. Then when we design, then also in the process of designing also we evaluate what is appropriate for a particular piece of e-content which we are going to develop. Then during the developmental process also we evaluate what is best suited, what should be integrated in a particular e-content. And when we are implementing, that implementation also take us leads to evaluation, because when we are in the process of implementation, there are three components. The content developed need to be previewed first. Based on the observation on the preview, it needs to be again modified. It should also be piloted on the students which for which it is being to be created. Then when it has passed through these two criteria, then when we put it on portal, there should be a well-defined system of rating. So on the basis of its rating by the viewers, by the users, we again evaluate the content after implementation, after its implementation. And maybe we decide to just remove it from the portal if the ratings are not so good. If the ratings are good, then maybe we need to share it more with the learners, or we encourage our learners to we recommend our learner to watch that particular key content. So that is it. Now, after watching the video, we will be having the question answer session. I will stop sharing here, and then I will just take you through a video. I would like you to watch a video, and you have to evaluate it. Can you see it? Is it visible? वहां पे बोलो, देख के बताएं। चल रहा है? वीडियो प्ले हो रहा है? ठीक। नहीं, बस आपको देखना है whether the video is playing or not. The video is for Hindi language. Those who understand, please watch it and help others out understand it. Because I found this video most appropriate for the evaluation, so that is why I selected this video. So please just go through it.
हम।
अच्छा, तो बताना चाहिए ना. So I think the video is not visible and nobody is telling me also. मेरी स्क्रीन पे तो दिख रहा है. Just a moment, I am just trying to share the video. उधर दिख नहीं रहा है. अच्छा, ठीक है. So this video is in Hindi. Those who understand Hindi, please help others out in understanding that. Those who can't understand Hindi. So I found it most appropriate to be evaluated. That is why I have chosen it.
हम, बच्चे बड़े सभी लोग हर रोज अनेक शब्दों को बोलते, सुनते, पढ़ते और लिखते हैं। आमतौर पर रोजमर्रा के काम आने वाले शब्दों को हम सुनते या पढ़ते ही समझ जाते हैं।
बुरे काम का फल भी बुरा होता है।
लेकिन फल खाना सेहत के लिए बुरा नहीं होता।
कभी-कभी हम ऐसे शब्दों के साथ दो चार हो जाते हैं जिनके एक से अधिक अर्थ होते हैं और हमें वे अर्थ पता भी होते हैं। ऐसे में हम किस तरह सही अर्थ का चुनाव कर लेते हैं?
भाई, हिरन कूदना कहाँ पड़ेगा?
यहाँ से उत्तर की ओर 1 किलोमीटर चलना तो गांव आ जाएगा।
सही पहचाना आपने। हम संदर्भ के आधार पर सही अर्थ का चुनाव कर लेते हैं और बात को समझ लेते हैं। कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि हमारा सामना ऐसे शब्दों से हो जाता है जिन शब्दों के अर्थ हमें पता नहीं होते। ऐसे में हम क्या करते हैं?
आपका निले कहाँ है?
ऐसे में भी हम संदर्भ के अनुसार सही अर्थ तक पहुंच जाते हैं या उसका अनुमान लगा लेते हैं।
मेरा निलय पास ही है। उसमें केवल 3 कमरे हैं जो हम पति पत्नी और 2 बच्चों के लिए पर्याप्त हैं। इस निलय को मैंने 2 वर्ष पहले ही खरीदा था। अब सोच रहा हूँ निलय की छत पर एक कमरा और बनवा लूं।
अब तो आप भी समझ गए होंगे कि निलय का अर्थ है घर या मकान। भाषा सीखने सिखाने के प्रमुख उद्देश्यों में से एक उद्देश्य माना जाता है शब्द भंडार में वृद्धि करना। शायद इसीलिए पाठ्य पुस्तकों के पाठों में से ऐसे शब्दों की पहचान करके उनके सामान्य अर्थों की सूची दे दी जाती है। इन सूचियों का शीर्षक आमतौर पर होता है नए शब्द या शब्दार्थ। क्या सचमुच शब्द कठिन या आसान होते हैं?
खुलुमबाई।
नमस्कार।
जिन शब्दों का प्रयोग हम करने लगते हैं, जो हमारे व्यवहार का अंग बन जाते हैं, वे हमें आसान लगने लगते हैं। जबकि ऐसा हो सकता है कि वही शब्द किसी अन्य व्यक्ति के लिए उतना आसान ना हो। यानी शब्द कठिन या आसान नहीं होते, बल्कि वे किसी के लिए परिचित और किसी के लिए अपरिचित हो सकते हैं। दूसरे शब्दों में, एक ही शब्द किसी व्यक्ति के लिए नया और किसी के लिए पुराना परिचित मित्र जैसा हो सकता है। ऐसा 2 भिन्न भाषाएं बोलने वाले 2 व्यक्तियों के साथ ही नहीं होता, बल्कि एक ही भाषा बोलने वाले व्यक्तियों के साथ भी हो सकता है।
मेरे चापाकल से बहुत ठंडा पानी निकलता है।
चापाकल मतलब?
अरे वही जो सामने लगा है।
अच्छा, हैंडपंप।
अब तक आप समझ गए होंगे कि हम नए शब्दों के अर्थ समझ जाते हैं जब उन्हें किसी संदर्भ में सुनते या पढ़ते हैं। ऐसे में नए शब्दों से मित्रता करने के लिए भाषा की कक्षा में क्या कुछ किया जा सकता है? इसके लिए उन शब्दों के अर्थों का संदर्भ के अनुसार अनुमान लगाने के कौशल को मजबूत करना उपयोगी हो सकता है। आइए ऐसी कुछ गतिविधियों को देखते हैं जो इस काम में हमारी सहायता कर सकती हैं। वाक्य में छूटे परिचित शब्द या शब्दों को लिखकर उसे पूरा करवाना।
सूरज, जरा इस पंक्ति को पूरा तो करो। कक्कू, वो जो सदा हंसाए, रोना उसे।
जरा ना भाई।
वाक्य में प्रयुक्त गढ़े गए निरर्थक शब्द को किसी वास्तविक उपयुक्त शब्द से बदलना ताकि वाक्य का अर्थ स्पष्ट हो जाए।
बच्चों, इस वाक्य में खाली स्थान पर क्या क्या आ सकता है?
आम, लड्डू,
अमरूद, गन्ना।
2 या 3 विकल्पों में से उपयुक्त शब्द चुनकर वाक्य पूरा करना।
दुर्गा, इस वाक्य के खाली स्थान में क्या आ सकता है?
तरबूज।
वाक्य के किसी शब्द को उसके समानार्थी या विपरीतार्थी शब्द से बदलना। किसी शब्द के किसी हिस्से के आधार पर उसके अर्थ का अनुमान लगाना। किसी शब्द का अन्य वाक्यों में प्रयोग करना। किसी शब्द के विभिन्न अर्थों को स्पष्ट करने वाले वाक्य बनाना। हम इन गतिविधियों को कक्षा में कैसे आयोजित करें कि इनका अधिक से अधिक लाभ उठा सकें। जब बच्चे समूहों में कार्य करते हैं तब इन गतिविधियों का लाभ और अधिक बढ़ जाता है। इसलिए कक्षा में इन्हें 3-4 बच्चों के समूह में या जोड़ों में उपयोगी रहेगा।
So what are your observations on the content? If you, those who couldn't understand the language can give their observations on the visuals they have seen. Although it was based on the concept of multilingualism. So in our classroom also we deal with this concept of multilingualism in the local language of a child. One particular phenomena or object or thing is known by different names, although the students are studying in the same classroom. And how to use words in a particular context. The same word, if it is used in different context, changes its meaning. So that was the whole idea about this content. As far as the content is concerned, content part of the video is concerned, content was very much aligned to the learning outcome, which is based on the idea of multilingualism. But what were the other observations, either strengths or weaknesses? For content also, it is my own thinking that the content was aligned to it. You might have a different thinking. So give your observations on that. If Dr. Monica is there, please look at the chat and post the questions.
Oh, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. I think so, Monica, ma'am, there is some problem in internet. So I'll take it. I'll take the question.
Yes,
Am
ma'am,
I
I'm
audible,
here
ma'am?
now. Sorry, actually my laptop, my net is not working, so I'm connecting from some other device. Ma'am, we can't see. Ma'am, you are mute. And the second thing, I can't see such questions, but yes, everybody in the last video, as it was about new words, so everybody is giving their observation. Rama Kalyani ma'am is saying a word is neither difficult nor easy. It is either familiar or new to us.
Yes, very smart observation.
Yes, ma'am. I didn't receive.
So that is what we need to understand in a class of language when we are teaching language in a class. Yeah.
Then Meena madam is saying one word having different meaning is different situation.
Yes.
And then Sakti Kumar sir, I think is saying, madam, I didn't receive training assessment link. Training assessment link means, sir, which link you are talking about? Can you please write further?
चलो इनसे बाद में बात करना. It is not related to the session.
proper understanding of the meaning of the new words. And then it somebody is saying contextual understanding also.
Okay.
Also,
Word
ma'am,
meaning will
yes,
change according to the situation.
situation. Yes, ma'am.
Saifun-Nisa is writing.
This process helps to learn and retain the new meanings of new words. Amtul Rakib sir has mentioned.
Right.
Meena ji is asking, this is for which class?
This is for teachers. The video is for teachers who are teaching primary students. So it is basically for foundational literacy and numeracy. Yeah, Habur Rahman ji is saying syntax and
Semantics of the language.
semantics of the language. Right.
So if you have any question also related to the session, you can post in the chat box, or also you can raise
Someone
the hand.
asked about augmented reality. If you go back in the chats, how can augmented
Yes, ma'am.
reality be taught in
Ma'am,
the used in the
one
classroom?
thing is mentioned, that is quick text animations. Something related to animation, and then I'm
Animation
just
of the video.
not detailed out. He said quick text animations need slow. Not a full sentence, not able to
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
Sir, please mute your mic.
एक बार
Somebody.
augmented reality वाला question क्या है?
Ma'am, I'm just trying to locate that question.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you please give some more explanation on tool-based evaluation? I mean, tools used to evaluate the e-content. A little bit more explanation needed, ma'am.
Actually, those tools are already there on CIT's website. So what aspect of the tool you want me to elaborate? Because there were 10 parameters. What you want me to explain in those 10 parameters? Be specific in your question. Like first was factual accuracy. I don't think there is any difficulty in understanding that. What do we understand by factual accuracy? So just specify what you want me to elaborate.
No, ma'am. Actually, for consideration of pedagogical consideration, no, the tool we can use to evaluate, like that I was asking.
Pedagogical consideration. Actually, this under pedagogical consideration, in the two different criterias or parameters of pedagogical considerations are given, whether the content is adhering to easy to complex, concrete to abstract. So all such examples are given. If you are evaluating a tool, and the evaluating a content by using this tool, and if the content is for primary level learners, so you need to see whether concrete to abstract phenomena has been taken care of. If we are teaching them something which is very abstract and which they cannot comprehend, then that particular content is not suitable for them. For example, before introducing maps, which in itself is a very abstract phenomena, we need to teach our students abstraction, how to abstract a concrete phenomena. Like we can tell them how to, we can introduce them the line diagrams of their classroom, their room at home, their home, the way they cross while going and coming back from their school. So all such line diagrams or map making may make them understand how to abstract a concrete phenomena, how to do abstraction of a concrete phenomena. So if without teaching them abstraction, we pose in front of them something very abstract, then the student may not understand that. So that all we need to take care of, and easy to complex, known to unknown. So like I gave example of agricultural practices. If without orienting them to the agricultural practices in their local area, we teach them the agricultural practices which are being practiced in some remote land, remote lands, that will not be appropriate for them. So all these things need to be taken care of when we are discussing or considering the pedagogical considerations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Augmented reality का क्या है?
Could you please tell about the reality availability in classroom of
Acha, someone has asked, yeah, you can switch on your mic and read. Dr. Prachi will read the question out for me.
There is one question. No, आपके mic से.
No mic, I will switch off my mic.
There is one question, ma'am. Could you please tell about augmented reality availability in classroom of India?
Okay, augmented reality के लिए, for augmented reality, there is any kind of infrastructure. Any infrastructure is not required. So you need to have a mobile device and the textbooks. If augmented reality content is linked to the diagrams or other abstract phenomena of the textbooks. I mentioned one mobile app called Qver. For that also, there is no need to have any infrastructure in the classroom. You just need to have a mobile device and Qver app installed in your mobile device, and you have to just print the sheets which are there in the Qver website. You just have to scan those sheets using Qver app, and you can give your students a augmented reality experience in the class. So there is no requirement of any infrastructure. So you just need to have a printer and a smart mobile device. That is all.
Ma'am, Dr. Meena is saying whether CIT have prepared any material like this for teachers at secondary or higher secondary level.
Like what?
Ma'am, maybe like, I think the way you've shown the video. Dr. Meena, can you please elaborate what exactly you want to say?
Yes. Yes, good evening, ma'am. Yeah, from the first session itself, we had prepared so many material for the preschool for class 1, class 2, and class 3, some materials, not regarding this also, for previous session also. And whether you have prepared any material that led the digital content for the higher classes, that was I was asking.
If you visit Diksha portal and look at our energized textbooks, you will get content aligned to the QR codes of all the textbooks from class 1 to 12th. So just explore the Diksha app. If you have some specific need also, you find some gaps, you can also create those content, share with us. And we are also in the process of creating and linking more and more content with the textbooks of all levels. So you have to look at our energized textbooks and you will get content aligned to all the textbooks. Since the purpose of this training, the special focus of this training was foundational literacy and numeracy, the content for foundational literacy and numeracy. That is why more of content foundational literacy and numeracy have been showcased here.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, then
yeah, augmented reality app name. Somebody has written on the top Qver,
I just mentioned in
QUIVER.
the Quiver app I have mentioned already.
Yes.
Any tool for evaluation of children? Hubu Rahman is
So
asking.
yeah,
from
what is
Kerala.
the meaning by this question? How to evaluate? For the evaluation of children means assessment of children. Any tool for the assessment of children? They want assessment against learning outcomes or content, or what do you mean?
Learning outcome.
Yes. Can you please elaborate your question?
Yeah, when we teach some any language.
You are not audible. You are not properly audible. Not audible.
So
if you can,
Sir, you can write
elaborate
in the
it in
chat
the
box.
There is some issue in the internet
Okay.
connectivity at your end. Your voice is breaking. So assessment of learning outcomes. So now, because assessment can also be made technologically enabled. Earlier, National Sample Survey was being done. National Assessment Survey was being done for the evaluation of learning outcomes of the students using paper and pencil. But now there is an app for that. So that app-based evaluation can be taken care of. And newer initiatives in this direction is being done. Apart from that, there are a lot of gamified assessment content which are there and which are linked to the textbooks of NCERT. So all those are technologically enabled assessment solutions that we are working towards. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you all any question, we can take one or two more questions. Otherwise, we can just wind up the session. How we can evaluate a resource, whether it is effective or not, in diverse knowledge construction process where setting learning outcomes are considered not reasonable.
Yeah, there is one more question before. Is it possible to show a human body with app? Yes, I mentioned the biodigital human app and more such app which are there in the Play Store. So you can install those apps. You can also understand human anatomy and the internal organs of human body using those apps. Monica, you read your question again.
Yes, ma'am. How we can evaluate a resource effective or not in diverse knowledge construction process where setting learning outcomes is considered not reasonable?
Setting learning outcomes, the question in itself is very complex.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, first part I think is basically.
Just a moment, let me read it myself. How we can evaluate a resource effective or not in diverse knowledge construction process where setting learning outcomes are considered not reasonable. So can you elaborate it further? Can you unmute yourself and just
Ma'am, he has further added, as in Kerala, LOs are even removed from the textbooks.
So LOs are not the only means to evaluate a content. Content exists in the form of textbooks. When you prepare a lesson, you also set your objectives. for a particular lesson. What will be the objectives of the lesson which you are going to teach today, the content which you are going to teach today. And if you are integrating a content, digital content in that particular lesson, then you need to see your objectives, whether the content is meeting the objectives that you have set for your content. So that is what you need to do. If the content is not catering to those objectives, then that is not the suitable content for your lesson. So that is how you need to evaluate the content.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that is it. And we are also coming towards the end of this session and the end of the day for this program. So if there are no further questions, I would like to thank ma'am for the elaborated session and discussions on the points of evaluation, the need of evaluation, and then evaluating some of the content, which is the practical aspect of evaluation. And I would also like to thank the participants for raising relevant questions in regard to evaluation and assessment, and how they can also, bring it in their assessment, in their system of learning, teaching, learning. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am, for this session.
Thank you, Dr. Monica, and thank you all the participants for their patient hearing. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So now, as an announcement of the day, tomorrow we will be meeting again at 9:30. Tomorrow, please be attentive. We will be working on the state action plan for development of e-content in the respective states of yours. So the state coordinators are also requested to be please actively present. And if you need any prior discussions on that amongst your team or amongst with the authorities, that can also be done by you before that. Apart from that, we will have a session on content technology pedagogy integration. Since we have learned a lot of technology, how to evaluate it, why we need it, how to create it. Now, once the e-content is created, it is very important to understand how to integrate it in the classroom situation. We will be going through that session also. And also today I am going to post the assignment form in the WhatsApp group, where you will be able to submit all the assignments which you have created during these 4 days. Assignment will remain open for till Sunday, so that all of you, whoever is facing any kind of difficulty in submission or creation, can create easily within Saturday and Sunday and can submit it by Sunday. That is it for the day. Please join back tomorrow on time. With these words, I would like to say thanks a lot and bye-bye for everyone. If you have anything, you can post. I hope you all have marked the attendance.